Hello. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's just transition across. Right, my name's DrWeez, thanks for tuning into my channel. So, unscheduled stream, bonus for you guys. I had a bit of an emergency situation this morning. A guy's Linux dev environment has gone down, so he phoned me and said, listen, can I please make a plan for him? It is a bank holiday in South Africa, so no shops are open. I'm building him a temporary machine until the distributors are open again next week after the 2 holidays. And yeah, I thought it was a great opportunity to just push it through on the stream and build a quick Prodigy Mini RTX build. Let's just have a look at what we got going on. So the hardware that I will be using for this build is, let's just go through it. I see it hasn't updated on the hardware on the stream. Let me just quickly fix that. And so I've edited the shortcut file, so it should actually be on the scrolling. I think I edited the copy, that's why. Okay, so hold on. It will be up on the screen in a second. And there we go. Hardware used. Right, so that should now be updated on the scroller with what we'll be doing for this build. So in a nutshell, basically what the guy needs, he just needs a quick little Linux LTS build, nothing terribly fancy. We do need 16 gigs of memory, so I've gathered quite a bit of just some old equipment I had lying around in the lab, and what we got is a Prodigy case that I've modified. Basically I bought it second hand, and I don't know what these guys were thinking when they made this case, and the plastic goes sticky over time. So what I did is I removed all that stickiness and just used like a rubber paint, and then you just spray the surface white. So I've done half the case white, so it's a good temporary solution. Let's just start off with the motherboard. I'll be using the MSI Z170i Gaming Pro AC. So a little RTX board that fits nicely in the Prodigy. I've got 2 8GB sticks of Kingston memory. These are ES, left over from the Pro OC like 2 years ago now. I've got a simple 250GB Hall of Fame SSD. The cooling will be provided by a H80i V2, and then the power I plan on using the Seasonic Snow Silent 750 watts. So more than enough power, more than enough cooling. The processor, I think I've got a 6700K or 6700 straight up that I'll be putting into the board. So I plan on giving him 8 cores, 8 threads, 16 gigs of memory, 250 gigs of hard drive space. It should be plenty. So the build is going to be straightforward. I don't know how much you're actually going to get to see on the stream because of the angles. What I'll do is once I've got the motherboard in, I'll switch the cameras around and see what you can see. So just a reminder, I do broadcast this onto Twitch, YouTube and Facebook. I try and monitor the chats as much as possible. It's not always terribly easy to do that. So I do also have a Discord server up and running. I try and keep everything open and catch any comments or questions as I go along. Yeah, so just be patient. If you do ask a question, I will get to it. I'm just having a look now. So I've got my Twitch chat open, I've got my Discord channel open, and I've got the Facebook page open. So if you have any questions, I like interacting with you guys. I like the questions, and go for it. So with this build, I think the way to start is going to get the power supply in. Once the power supply in, we'll then worry about the motherboard, get the processor in, have a look at how we can do the cooling. I should imagine that an all-in-one cooler would fit in this case. It's got plenty of space. I haven't put one in personally before, so this might be quite an interesting build, and there might be a little bit of discovery as we go along. So like I said, this is a second-hand case that I have done some work on it, some basic modding, nothing terribly fancy, and it's been sitting on the shelf unused for the better part of maybe a year. I originally bought it for the stream PC, but without understanding that these stupid mini RTX motherboards have got a terrible USB controller on them, not enough bandwidth on your USB, so it just didn't work for the amount of bandwidth that I needed for the streams. So very simply, this case is quite a small basic one. You've got a little compartment here for your your power supply, your compartment here for your cooler. You can remove this drive bay like that, and you can put a full-length video card in here. It's not a bad little case. It's good for an RTX case, I should imagine. It's not my favorite thing to work on, so let's just get this out of the way, I think, because the power cables will go down the bottom around the back, and we might actually be doing ourselves some favors if we remove this drive bay as well. But let's see if we can get the power supply in there. The other thing I'm not too sure of, but I'm sure it would take a full-length power supply. So I just want to get the Seasonic out of here. So Seasonic power supplies are available from Rebeltech, if I'm not mistaken, if you're interested in getting one on the local market. This power supply was the one that I won at the HW World Tour in Cape Town, I think the year before last. Okay, so we'll need one CPU cable, one motherboard cable. We won't need any PCI Express cables because I plan on running, I plan on using an old fish that I've got from one of the GOC events. We'll need one SATA cable, and we won't need another PSU cable, and I think that's all we're going to need really. So cable management will be quite a breeze in this installation. Yeah, I'll just close that up and get the PSU out of here. Right. Let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, it fits easily. We're going to put the fan orientation down towards the bottom, and then we're going to turn on hybrid mode, because I guarantee you we're not going to be using that much power on this build. So I'm going to make sure that this is universal. It is universal. Alright, so we're going to pop it there. Alright, the 4 screws, and that can go in. Right, so where's my bag of screws? Okay, so let's just open up the chats. I don't need to be changing the view too often here, so I can just keep an eye on the chats. Let's have a look. Right, George Storm. Alright, how's George here? So thanks for tuning in. Yes, so this build is for a customer. They've got a bit of a panic situation. Their Linux test environment has gone down, and they need a quick fix over the banking holiday. So they basically just, I'm building this just as a quick temporary solution until the banking holiday is over. So we've got a bank holiday today for Freedom Day, and then we got the weekend, and then we got a bank holiday on Tuesday for I think May Day, yes. But all of the distributors are closed until Wednesday. So this guy cannot afford to have his environment down for that period, so he's just asked me for a quick solution. I've got backups of his other installations, so it's quite easy for me to just once I've got linings up and running, I can get his environment back quite quickly. Alright, so I've just noticed now this cage where the power supply fits into, so this drive bay here, the power supply reaches all the way to the back, which means there's not going to be enough space. There's not going to be enough space for the connectors, so we're not going to be able to use the snow silent. It's just too long. So now I've got to quickly scurry and see what other power supplies I've got that are shorter than that, and I think I've got a 500 watt power supply here somewhere that might be good enough. That's just a case of getting to it all. The problem is with the 500 watt, it's not modular, so it is going to be cables everywhere. It's not there. And of course my OC lab is in its typical absolute disaster area state, where you can't actually get anywhere or do anything because there's just too many projects on the go. Okay, I need to get behind all of this stuff. No, okay. That is the problem. How about this? How about this power supply? Okay, so the Cooler Master V850 is the same length. That's not going to work. The AX1500i is about double the length. That's definitely not going to work. Okay, I think there's a power supply on this one. There we go. Alright, so okay, so here is a Thermaltake TR2500, and while it's not doesn't have cable management, so it's got all the cables permanently attached, so it'll be a bit more difficult to work with. I don't know if you can see. Let me just pull up the screen. So let's just pull up so if you can see the power supply here. Let's just change the camera angle a little bit. If you see this, and then you bring the Thermaltake power supply next to it. So this is just one that I've recovered out of an old build. You can see we've got that little bit of extra there. So while it's not going to be the prettiest and we're going to have cables everywhere, it is only a temporary solution, and 500 watts is going to be more than enough for this build. The only thing I need to make sure of is, do we have a 12-pin PCI Express, motherboard connector. So we've only got a single, but that might be enough. That might be enough. And the only thing we can do there is trial and error. The other thing I can do is have a look, but I think the Maximus 8 is also looking for, it's also looking for an 8-pin motherboard power. So look, I'm not sure if this power supply is actually going to work, because it's only got that 4-pin 12 volt. It might though, so let's give it a try. And what we can actually do before we go any further and go and install everything in the case is let's actually give that a test and see if it does work. And to do that, I just need to get a little bit of insulation. Right, that can go back in the box for the Seasonic. We won't be using that anymore. And let's get the board out. So the other thing as well is this board has been under liquid nitrogen, so maybe we're doing ourselves a favor by just making sure that it does run. Let's get the CPU. What do we have? 6600K, 6700K. Alright, so we've got quite a few 6700Ks, I think. 6700K is 4 cores, 8 threads. 6600K is 4 cores, 4 threads, right? Something like that. Okay, let's go with the 6700K. So it is a D-lid CPU. Pins all look great. And we'll just need to give that a quick clean. All right. Okay. Let's get that chat window open again. While I'm here, let's just readjust that a bit. You can see the full extent of my workshop at the moment. It is an absolute disaster area. Alright, so we'll get this one on, a little bit of thermal grizzly. We need power. Okay. So the problem again is just that we've only got the one connector. So now I think it can only go in one place, right? Yeah. It might work. It might be alright. We're not doing overclocking or anything fancy, so let's just give it a power on and a check. Okay. Off. Okay, and mouse and keyboard. Let's just get keyboard. So we've got power. This thing doesn't have an on-off switch on the board. So let's just have a look here. Power switch is over there. Let's just give that a short and let's have a look. Alright, so we've got power. Not posting? No. Let's just clear the CMOS. This VGA card might also be suspect. I'll try a different card just now. Well, it looks like it's on, but I'm not getting any picture on the posts. Maybe this is my dead fish. I know one of my fishes are not so lacquer, so let's just try quickly my go-to benching card. Yeah, I mean the other real possibility is that the board isn't working, but I don't think so. So it's not the HDMI splitter, not the video card. Go ahead and say it's the power supply. Or this MSI board is trying to boot off the onboard VGA. The motherboard looks like it's going through the motions. I mean, you get your LEDs coming on. Okay, so then let's say the power supply is not working. Let's just make 100% sure the board is working. We'll get another power supply. I'll get that Seasonic. Just trying to think, I don't think I've got another case lying around, which is now a real problem. This is a real problem. I don't know how, unless I build a machine for the customer on the test bench, which I'm not terribly happy about, because open machine people can fiddle, but it might just have to be that way. Right, so let's go there. That's the only other option I've got, I guess. Crikey. Power. Okay, so basically in a nutshell, maybe this board is poked, because I'm not, even with other power supply, I'm not getting anything coming up. So I think we might have just saved ourselves a little bit of effort there by actually having a problem with the power supply and then pre-testing the board. So I've got another micro ATX board, which is the Maximus 8 Impact. I've actually got 2 of them in the OC lab. That's what qualifying for a competition does to you. You buy excess bloody equipment and then it just sits. So let's test the board. Oh crikey, this hasn't gone well. Hasn't gone well at all. Let's just get the CPU. Right, so if this board runs on a single 8-pin is the real question as well. On 4-pin instead of 8-pin. It does have this big power rail on it. We're not going to be doing overclocking. I'm not sure. Okay, CPU, pot, memory. We'll try first with the Seasonic. It is here and plugged in, so do that first. Powered on. The nice thing, at least now with the Asus, is we do have a debug LED and a power switch. George, yeah, good question. Unfortunately not, because the cage for the PSU is also where the motherboard sits. So if you remove that cage, you've got nowhere for the motherboard to go, and it's just been bent over. So 62, it's posting. 62 B2 is a post, right? Let's just clear the CMOS and try again. I wonder if we 62. Let's try a different memory. 62 is not memory though. I think that might be processor. Bias 62. Where's my other memory now? Here's some Galax memory. Actually, I've got some other EDA. LN2 mode on this board is set by jumper. Shouldn't make a difference, but I will change it. Hey, you know what? This thing does have ROG Connect on it. Doesn't it? No, it doesn't. 6.2 should be posting, right? Let's try a different CPU. Let's take LN2 mode off. What other plan can I make? $6,600K. 6,600K. There's one that's still glued. Okay, so 6,700K, DED dead. That's what the problem was there. It was a 6,700K. This one here. DED dead. It sucks. Must RMA that, still under warranty. Alright, so that works. This will just have to do 4 cores, 4 threads. Should be not enough. I must give him a 6,700K. Hold on. So what do I have here? I've got Case King 6,700K. Let's not use that. 8,700K won't work on that board. KB Lake won't work on this board either. It's the next board. So I guess we'll just use. But before we do that, did we not kill the CPU by only having one connector in? We shouldn't have, right? Shall we test? Let's test. Because it's not like it's delivering too much voltage. If anything, it'll deliver too little voltage, which means the board won't even turn on. But okay, so was it working? 6,600K. Okay, so there we go. So that works. Now I'm not going to even bother with the MSI board. No, let's bother with the MSI board. Let's get back to where we were. I much prefer when working with Linux the MSI variants. They seem to just be a little bit more versatile. I find that ROG, well, are fantastic for Windows and gaming, stuff like that, overcomplicate the world with their fancy chipsets, and not all works in Linux all the time. Alright, so chip out. And the other reason why I would actually prefer to use the MSR is if it goes missing, it's less of a hit to my purse. Not that it will go missing, but break-ins and robberies are a real thing in this country, unfortunately. And while doing a favor for a customer, I could be out of pocket. Okay, picture. Happy days, or unhappy days. Never nice to lose a high-end CPU, but it was probably, you know, it was probably killed by me last year during, or the year before during GOC qualifiers, where we had to run this stupid AGP crap. That has got to be the worst qualifier in the world. I tell you what, it's not worth the heartache and the pain and the dead hardware. Even if the prize money is a 10,000 or 20 this year, 20,000 USD for that much dead hardware. So it's probably, I did probably kill it then. I just never got around to RMAing or remembered that I killed it, because I run out of time in life at the moment. I really do. I don't know what's going on. Alright, so back to where we started. While we've got all of this out, we can confirm that this power supply will work for the build now, and we've got confirmed that we've got a working motherboard. Let's just get the Maximus put away, and then we need to put the heat sinks back onto the MSR board, and then we can get the power supply into the case. Now we're going to have a much harder job because of that bloody bunch of cables on that power supply, but it's okay. Right, so what are we going to install? We're going to install the wireless? No, I don't think so. We just need the back plate, and we need the heatsink. Now, question being, the heatsink's not in the box here. That's not good. So if the heatsink is not in this box, then it would be stored behind the monitor. Hopefully. Alright, so what do we got? That looks like it could be it. Yeah, that's it. Great. Okay. George, yeah, it probably would have been worth checking the memory as well with that other power supply. But to be perfectly honest, if the 16 gigs doesn't work, I'll just throw 8 gigs in, or 12 gigs. It really, or even 4 gigs. You know, to be perfectly honest, no, they're not going to be able to compile. They're not going to be able to compile with 4 gigs. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we got some problems coming up, but I don't think it was the memory. I think it was the power. Definitely it was that CPU that was faulty. That was the root cause of all the issues here. I can get away with only giving them 4 cores, 4 threads, but I can't get away with giving them lower memory, that's for sure. Then again, I could maybe just increase the virtual memory. If I can only give them 4 gigs, I can do another SSD. I'll run it in RAID 0 to get the speed, or my NVMe drive, and then I'll just do some virtual memory. So there's ways I can work around it if I have to, if that original memory is shot, but I don't think so. Right, so you can, this board does have a little spot here for a little wireless card that plugs in to an external, two external antennas, but they will be using this on the network. If anything, I would have liked to have had 2 network ports, but we can get away with 1, as it is only a temporary fix. So that's that back on. Let's get the power supply in and get cracking with this build. How are we doing for time? Yeah, so it's already 10:15. I wanted to be leaving here for their place at 11. Right. The other challenge we haven't even looked at yet is the cooling, but if you take that top off, you see there is plenty of space there. I think it is 120 mil fan. Let's just check that. Right, so 120 mil fan will fit, so we shouldn't have any problems at all putting the cooling in. Right, power supply first. Let's just install the memory on the board, so it's the other way. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure for a build like this you could maybe use like the Corsair CX range, might be shorter. CX builders or something to that effect. I've got some RX 750 power supplies on their way to me for a project. Actually the ROG Masterclass, it has been announced, so I don't have to say the project anymore. And Unity OC, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Yes, PC building is the opposite to overclocking, but overclocking is not the only thing that I do, and some guys are interested to see and to get an idea of some of the other heartaches and troubles and stuff that we go through in life. So PC building is also an interest point. And thanks for tuning in. I will be doing more overclocking on the stream probably in 2 weeks' time. I've got to do preparations for the ROG DrWeez Masterclass, and I'm just waiting for all the hardware to arrive in the country so that we can announce the hardware, and then I'll do introductions on the hardware, and then we do the basic overclocking on the hardware. So I got the first batch of cables through. Not the easiest thing in the world to get done. Definitely would have been easier. You know what, it actually probably would be easier as well, just to take this back bloody cover off. I'm an idiot. Okay. PCI Express we don't need. And this is where the real problem comes in, all these 50 million zillion bloody Molex connectors. And unfortunately there's not enough space to leave it in. The back of the power supply compartment, you have to get it fed through so that the power supply can fit nicely. And what we should do is just bang an elastic band straight onto that, so at least got a little bit of cable management right. Man, and it's bloody cooking in this OC lab at the moment. If you caught the stream yesterday, where I did the introduction to the 1080 Ti brig, so I've got that running in here at the moment, and the humidity is just through the roof because of the evaporative cooler that I'm using, or the method I'm using to keep the water at a manageable temperature. I did manage to find a second-hand condenser for an aircon unit yesterday. I went and collected it, so I'm going to start stripping that one, and eventually, or the plan is now to have that up and installed by next week sometime. It's been a really fun project, I must be honest. I've really enjoyed setting that up and getting it going. So currently it's mining. It's basically doing stress test on the cooling mechanisms, and evaporation is about 10 to 15 liters a day. It's a bit insane. It's not manageable with that level of evaporation. So if I'm able to keep 5 1080 Ti's under heavy stress at 45, 47 degrees, I think at the moment they're running 44 degrees is like basically the average. So if you're running a single or at least SLR 1080 Ti's, the evaporative cooler bong method will keep those cards really, really nice and cool. It's just I'm producing way too much heat for it to be truly effective over a long term. Alright, so we've got that in. Let's get the motherboard in, and once the motherboard is in, then we can just rearrange some of those cables. And I'm going to install it with the blue towel, so that's just a little bit of protection for the Vaseline that's going to be dripping. And before we go any further, and I've made this mistake so many times in my life, we need to get out the bracket for the water cooling and install the bracket for the water cooling underneath the motherboard. And I really don't want to admit how many times I make that mistake. Install the board and then realize, crikey, I forgot the brackets. Alright, so we've just got a little bracket like that. It'll get installed underneath the motherboard, and then it will have a set of pins. Now this looks like the AMD pins, so I'll put those ones back. Alright, so it's X99, X99, okay, so they weren't the AMD pins, those are the ones we need to use. Alrighty then. That's at the back. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. So now it's just a case of getting the little sliders aligned. Really, you got to just be careful not to scratch the motherboard when doing this process, because you can quite easily scratch some tracks, and then it's bubble as well. Right, so just a little bit of manipulation. We've got our four points. You just take your screw and then bang it in. Once we've got this in place, we can install the board, we can install the water cooler, get the SSD mounted up, power on, put the Ubuntu 1604 LTS USB in, and then that's it. Let it do its magic. Hey Unity, thanks for the host. Do appreciate it. I will add you to my auto hosting as well, and I'll share the love. Alright, next step is backplate. Alright. Yeah, so one of the things I always talk about when doing PC building classes at demos and at shows and stuff like that is when you build a computer, you really don't ever have to use excessive force on anything, and it's always important to remember that these things are designed and made to sort of like fit. In some cases you need to use a little bit of pressure but not force. So I've had quite a few customers come back to me, and quite a few people that have tried to return items with bent pins and damaged parts, and they try and say yes, but it didn't fit properly, or it wasn't compatible. The bottom line is, guys, if you're buying something from me, I'll make sure that what you're buying is also is compatible. And if you're wanting to do DIY, you need to own up to the fact that you use brute force in trying to get something to fit and damaged it, and that's not covered by the manufacturer's warranty, unfortunately. So there's no ways that the retail outlet can provide you with a warranty on that. And I don't care how many posts you put on Facebook and everywhere else complaining about the service. That's just one of those things. Don't ever force anything. If it doesn't fit, give me a call, or give your retail outlet a call and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to do this, it's not quite working. And then I'll tell you, yeah, take the CPU, rotate it until the parts all match up or line up. So that's just my little rant, I guess, for the day. Right, so that's board in. Let's get some screws to fasten that down. And it's just 4 screws. Use the ones with the finer thread. Typically you'd use the ones with the finer thread, and I really should have checked that before. 2, 3, 4. With luck I'm right. We haven't had luck today, so it's more than likely going to be a coarse thread screw. And this screwdriver is useless. Okay, so what do you know? I actually got something right first try. It is a fine thread screw. It's the same type that you'd use for your SSD, for instance. Right, flip it around. This one's in an awkward position. Alright, and then we got the last here. So I won't have to go to the sauna today, that's for sure. Okie dokie, so let's just switch this around. Maybe you guys can get a good view there. Let me open up the view. Okay, so Unity OC, awesome. I have added you to my auto host as well, thanks for that. Okay, so let's just have a look at what you can see on the stream here. Tell me, how's the stream looking today, guys? Is it a bit laggy? I've just noticed now I've got a few drop frames. Was the picture quite clear? How's the audio? No worries. Just give me some feedback if you can. Alright, so I've got the machine, I've got the power supply installed here. The motherboard is installed here, as you can see. We've got the back plate, we've got the memory. So the next thing I want to do now is get that all-in-one cooler. I plan on installing it can either go at the back here or it can go at the top. And I'm just going to get the orientation right to see which way it fits the best with the least amount of stress on the piping. So what we'll do is we'll get the power supplies in first, and it's just the two of them, and we'll do a quick little bit of cable management there, and the rest of the power cables I'm going to try and stick into this drive bay, because we've got plenty of drive bays to use, so it's not a major problem. At least that way it looks semi-neat, having 50 zillion cables unnecessarily all over the place. We'll leave the one SATA out, and we won't be using the PCI Express, so that can get tucked away nice and neatly as well. And what I've done, I'll show you now on the stream, is they've tucked away actually quite nicely. If you have a look here in the front of the case here, they've tucked away quite nicely behind the drive bay, so when the other drive bay is installed, those two will come at the back here like that, and it actually won't look too terrible. And if we put the drive bay in now, you'll get a good idea of what I'm talking about. So those two cables tucked around the back, the rest tucked around the front. It does restrict airflow a bit, but I'm not too real concerned about airflow down the bottom here. If I do install a fan, I'll install it further up at the top in this sort of area, get the air coming in here and then out via the all-in-one. Right, and then we've just got some power there for the SSD when we get to the SSD. Right, air all-in-one time. Let's just get that out of the road. Alright, so let's just have a look at a plan of attack here. Let's see where it fits nicely. So a bit of advice, the all-in-one cooler does come with a protective piece over the copper. Leave that on for as long as possible. That just protects that surface a little bit. So the idea now is to get the orientation to a point where it will fit nicely and would have good flow. You don't want to put too much pressure on the pipes, so you don't want it to be bent over too much, and you want it to be a nice comfortable fit. You don't want it to be under extreme amounts of tension. Not always the easiest thing in a small case, but you know, with a little bit of wriggling and maneuvering, it is possible. And I think it might be a good installation if we put it at the back, on the back of the case, so coming out the back, because it is where we've got the most amount of space, and it doesn't put unnecessary amounts of pressure on the cabling. So it could go like that, I guess. I guess you can't see, so it will basically be installed similar configuration to that. If we get it on the side, that could work as well. That might be a little bit better. Alright, let's get the pump installed, I guess. And if the pump is let's just move this out the way quickly. If the pump is in that configuration and I want to change it, you can do it while it is installed in the processor, because there is movement in the joint where it connects to the pump. So we'll start off with a bit of thermal grizzly, if I can find it. Okay, let's just get a new thermal grizzly. No, it should be here somewhere. Oh, crikey. Ah, there we go. Thermal grizzly. And we'll just put a line across the top and then even it out. I like the application method where you spread it into a decent film across the whole CPU. I'm not fond of the P method or the line method. I like to make sure that it's got a decent covering to start off with. Really what you should be doing, you should be testing your mount on any new installation before you, especially on air. You should be testing your mount to make sure that you're getting good contact before you let it run for any long duration of time. If I just get mediocre contact here, to be perfectly honest, it's fine. Because temporary solution, I expect to have this machine back in the OC lab by Thursday next week once I've got a replacement. Alright, so let's just give this a bit of a clean. And let's get it installed. This is going to be quite a tricky one. All right. So I don't know how much you can see there. Basically, I've got the pump in place, and now it's just a case of getting the 4 thumb screws tightened down, and then we can maneuver the radiator. In here as well, I mean, I could have used the stock Intel cooler, to be perfectly honest. This machine won't be overclocked at all. It won't be pushed. It won't be under a lot of stress. But you know, if you've got an all-in-one, might as well just use it. Damn it! I've dropped the thumb screw, and of course I would drop it into the most inaccessible part of the whole system, right? Which is basically in between the pump and the memory. Alright, got it. Okay, that's that done. Just want to open up the chat again. Been fine for me. Great. Okay, thanks for the feedback, George. Let's get the video card installed. No, let's get the RAD installed. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to use single fan, or we're going to use 2 fans. I'm going to opt for the decision to be made once we've got it in place and see how much space we got. Right, so we're going to go with a single fan. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull the air through the radiator and out the back of the case. So with most fans, you should have a directional arrow molded on it. If you don't, like this fan does not, then a good rule of thumb is typically the air will always pass down, so out the back of a fan. So we'll get that installed. Just checking where the CPU fan header is on the other side. So we'll get it installed with the cable down towards the side where the header is. And what we're going to do is just slide it in the back of the all-in-one cooler, get it lined up, and let's get our screw fit keys in. This is a bit of a finicky part, so what I like to do is I like to get one screw in. I rotate around. I hope you can see that. Let me just switch over to the stream. Alright, so what I like to do is just get one screw in to line it up at the bottom there, and then I'll start off with one of the screws where I can see easily to get it all lined up. Then once you've got the top one lined, or the easy one in, then what you do is move down to the opposite one, and then theoretically once you've got two in, the rest should all be lined up. And the only reason you put those first two screws in is to hold the fan in place while you're trying to line up the radiator. That's really not rocket science, but there's a little bit of being methodical can make life a little bit easier. Okay. Yeah. And I need to see. I need some light on this matter. Right. This is definitely the most finicky part of the whole installation. Okay, so that's the two in. And let's get the last ones. Last ones theoretically should just be straight in and done. So we do have space if we wanted to put a push-pull configuration here. There is enough space on the other side of the radiator to get another fan in. We'll check the temperatures, and if it's necessary then I'll install it, otherwise I'm not going to bother. And of course this idiot over here did not check the location of the CPU fan header, and it is of course behind and in quite a difficult spot to get to, so a little bit along those pliers might do the trick here. Let's try. Nothing like making life hard for yourself, right? Yeah, no, I can't get there with my fingers. Longer along those pliers. And that's on. The next thing we need to plug on is the, we could have used that fan header, the pump. So the pump, we want to go to the optional system fan, which is around the other side. Also in quite an inaccessible spot, but not too bad. Right, video card, and the fish is too long, so we won't be using the fish. Let's get a... Geez, I really did underestimate the smallness and the size of this case. Never fear though, I have got lots of old little video cards near. There we go, that will work. So this is also surprisingly Galax. This is from the very first GOC I went to, and I think it's a little 210, so more than enough. I'm pretty sure we could actually even use it on board, but I'm not a great fan of using onboard VGA. Oh, what a silly system. So, okay, I'm not going to complain. People have heard me complain way too much already today. The bracket did fall out. Video card, video card, video card. And installed. So let's get the stupid little flap. Put the stupid little flap on. That has a screw, and then to move the stupid little flap, you have to undo both the other screws. I'm guessing maybe you probably don't have to undo the strap normally, but I did. Alright, so it's just the SSD left, and to do that, because this case doesn't have native SSD brackets, I think it's a bit an old model, or maybe the newer models have got space to put SSDs in. I'm not too sure. We have to use the supplied bracket in order to make it fit in the 5.5 inch, 5.5 quarter, 5.5 whatever space. Let's just get this last screw in. I'm battling with my fingers. Screwdriver is on the floor. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, I'm starting to think that this screw is not going to go back in. Getting frustrated, stupid. Okay, never mind. There it is. Okay, done. And that was just to hold the bloody side plate, back plate in, so that it looked nice and professional at the back. Alright, so SSD. Ah, bugger. SSD. Alright, I'm looking for a little packet that's got the bracket in it. Here it is here. So these were supplied with the case. Very straightforward. It should just be It doesn't match. So that doesn't work for SSD, right? Am I going crazy? That matches, okay. I'm going crazy, it does fit. So we'll just need 4 screws again. This is a fun part. You've got to get the screw into the hole, get the screwdriver on it, and then put it on the SSD. So now I've got a, it doesn't fit. Oh well, who cares? I'm just going to put 1 screw in. It's just something. So basically the holes are out of alignment. I wonder, SSD is the same as a small hard drive, so I don't know why it doesn't fit, but anyway, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. It's literally just to hold it. Hold it in place. Actually, hold on, I'm an idiot. Scratch that. Scratch that. I'm an idiot. What an idiot. Okay, I don't know why I was thinking that. I really am an idiot. Okay, so the hard drive trays, okay, do have bottom mounts, and the bottom mounts should fit, yes. Such an idiot. Alright, so we want backwards mounting SSDs. We just line it up. We just 2 screws again. Okay. The screwdriver's rubbish. There we go. There's one. There's the other. Slide it in, and uncle, you're done. Okay, so we need to find power for that SSD, which we have got nicely sitting there right where it needs to be, and an SATA cable. SATA cable, let's get one out of the box. Oh, bugger. Right, we can put the top cover back on now that we're done. Lock that in place. And SATA cable. Let's power on and see what we got cracking. It says my wife also. That's what you do with it. Yeah, so just some comedy going on in the chat there. Thanks for tuning in. Oxides. I don't know if I pronounce it right, probably not. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for saying hello. We're just going to get the SATA cable installed. Bang. And tucked away a little bit. Alright, let's put the juice on. I've got an Ubuntu install USB here from the last time I did an installation, and this is one of those retarded cards. That won't work, will it? Okay, it does. Okay, so we've got that. We need a keyboard. We need Ubuntu. Windows, True Image, Windows 7, Windows 10, FreeNAS, Ubuntu. I hope that's the right one. What I might do is I'll start this installation, see how it goes. Alright, so into the supercharge port. Balls, you know what we haven't done. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with the... I can do it, okay, hold on, I know what to do. Alright, so what we haven't done is install the bloody front panel. So to install the front panel, we're going to have to disconnect the SSD. Disconnect that, let's switch it onto its side. Let's take out the drive bay. Then, actually, you know what, I'm going to take the drive bay out and leave it out. I'm going to put this SSD in the bottom here. Alright. Then you've got a lot more space to work with here at least, so it's a little bit more manageable. Right, so the power switches and the front USB and all that sort of jackass stuff is on the back cover that we took off, which is the reason why we forgot to do it. So let's get this rotated around again. Let's get to the back cover. This is the front, this is the back, right? No, this is the back, yeah, this side. Get all those cables fed through. Okay, we're going to need to put power back to our SSD. There we go. Let's put this side cover on. Perfect. Okay, sitting flush and tightened up. Then my daughter's awake from her sleep. That was a pretty good sleep. Right, so USB 3 is in the front there. Let's have a look at how, maybe we're lucky and they've got a quick connect in the box. No quick connect. Alright, so let's have a look at the manual. Let's get power and reset. Who really cares about anything else, right? Reset switch, power switch. Okay, power switch, reset switch with the pin. Reset switch, power switch. And I'm sorry I ruined your view, but it's just going to be easier for me to do. In fact, hold on. Reset switch is the one on the side of the pin. So reset switch is the one that's closest, and then hard drive power switch is the one that's furthest. Okay, that's that done. Next we're going to get USB and USB 3 installed. Now I have to take the video card. Bugger that. I'm just not going to put USB 2 on, just USB 3. Okay, USB 3 is in. Yeah, no, I'm not going to take the video card out now. I hope it works. Alright, let's power on. That's that. Output back in. Power cable is not on the floor, it's here. Power on. Okay, power switch. power switch. Okay, we've got power on the all-in-one. We've got the fan turning, we've got the motherboard on, and we've got picture. We've got picture. We've got picture. Oh, I've got no picture. Alright, back to debug mode. Screen card first. No, really, honestly, it's like amateur hour today. Well, we've got that off, we can plug. No, we can't plug that on, it doesn't reach. There we go. Okay, that's another faulty piece of equipment that I got in my lab here. Where's that red Koki pin? Okay, we don't want Windows, so let's just kill that. Alright, so DED, dead. Oh, crikey. Alright, let's power back on, let's get into the BIOS. I missed it again, and the keyboard's not powered up. There's a chance of my keyboard not working with the MSI board. See, I've got no power on the keyboard from this MSI board. I wonder if these USBs aren't poked. Sherbet. Anyway, okay. Let's not think about that. Quickest way to test that would be to unplug the SSD, leave the USB in, and see if it boots to the USB. While it does that, I will get my other keyboard. Oh, I got a feeling I'll be changing this motherboard again. Balls. Okay, so I didn't see the USB. That is not great news, man. Didn't boot off the USB, so let's just have a look and see if we can use the USB 3. Definitely amateur hour today, I think. Yeah, so if M-Flash isn't picking up this USB drive, we try MSI drive. Maybe that drive is broken. Did the MSI board suffer from that liquid nitrogen issue on the USB ports and you had to solder the resistors? Possibly. I might have charred these USBs with using liquid nitrogen. Ah, for crying in a frickin' bucket, man. What about, let's get creative now. Let's get creative. Let's use, well, let's first of all see if we can use it. Onboard VGA. And a USB card. Problem being that we've only got one PCI port. Okay, well, at least onboard VGA works. Let's get this in. Wrong keyboard. The question is, will it actually boot off that USB 2, USB 3 card? Good question. And the answer is no. Okay, so what options do I have? We can try the optional headers, but I don't think it's going to work because the USB 3 didn't work. So I need to now say that this motherboard is toast as well. Crikey. No USBs are working on it. So what I could maybe do is solder those resistors with the USB. If it is that fault, if that's the problem, I can solder those resistors, and that should bring the USB back to life. I'm just not sure if that is actually the problem. Let's just discard changes. Yes. Load defaults. Boot override. That's just going to go to US. Yeah. Oh, that's really disappointing. Alright, well, so look, I was basically going to end off with the installation Linux. What I'm going to have to do now is change this damn board again. I have to put the ASUS in because the USBs aren't working. Even with the USB card, that's not working. Wonder if it's not the power supply. This is the reason why. Okay, crikey, I'm not going to come out with a solution anytime soon. I've got to not. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to test the power supply to see if maybe the reason why the USB isn't working is because I'm not delivering enough power to the motherboard. I don't think so, but I think I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to change that motherboard, which means basically stripping the whole bloody machine down again and starting from scratch. So guys, I think let me end the stream now. I need to go and get a bit of fresh air because it is exceptionally humid in this OC lab at the moment, and then I'll build this machine. I'll finish building this machine quickly offline. I've got to try and get it installed and configured within the next 2 hours, and I don't think you guys have the patience to sit in the stream for that amount of time. So I'm going to just say cheers for now, and don't forget to subscribe to my Facebook, my YouTube, and to Twitch. You'll get notification of when I go live. Make sure you are following ASUS South Africa. They will be making announcements of how you can stand a chance to join us on the day for the DrWeez ROG Masterclass. It's going to be happening in May, so just a few weeks away now, so I'm really quite excited about that. And yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Sorry it was a bit of a fail session today and a bit of a disaster area, amateur zone, but you know what, life isn't always full of easy scenarios, and when you're mixing and matching a machine like I did today with old components, trying to just make a plan, sometimes it doesn't always work out in your favor, and yeah, well, I'll get it done. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, happy benching. See you later.